Awesome. All right, with that, I'd like to start the March 27th, 2023 City of Palm Springs Parks and Recreation Commission meeting. Let's start with the call to order. And now let's go to roll call, please.
Okay, when I say your name, if you can just indicate if you are present. Chair Alcorn,
Present.
and we have Vice Chair Coladonato excused. Commissioner Crawford,
Here.
Commissioner Diaz,
Here.
Commissioner Finland,
Present.
Commissioner Meyer,
Present.
and Commissioner Moralia.
Present.
We have all members present with Commissioners Coladonato and Commissioner Spellman excused.
Wonderful. With that being said, I'd like to get, if we can get a posting of the reporting of the agenda, please.
The agenda was posted on Wednesday, March 22nd, in accordance with our public meeting posting requirements.
Wonderful. Thank you, everybody. So we're going to move on to the approval of the minutes. Has everybody had a chance to look at last month's February 27th minutes? Is there any changes or anything that need to be done to it? All right. With no, can I get a motion to pass it?
Motion.
Thank you, Mr. Finley. Can I get a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Moralia.
And I'll do a roll call. Chair Alcorn,
Yes.
Commissioner Crawford,
Yes.
Commissioner Diaz,
Yes.
Commissioner Finland,
Yes.
Commissioner Meyer,
I'll abstain just because I wasn't present.
and Commissioner Moralia.
Approved.
Perfect.
Wonderful. With that being said, our next section is the public comments. And prior to going on to public comments, I'd like to introduce our new city manager, Scott Stiles. He has some few words to say on our meeting. So with that being said, I'd like to turn it over to Mr. Stiles.
Chair Alcorn, can you hear me okay?
Yes, sir. Thank you very much for attending, sir.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much to yourself and all the commission members for giving me a little bit of time here to just check in with you. It's been, I think I've got a whole 3 weeks under my belt so far. So I'm still trying to find the restrooms here in City Hall. So I've got a lot of work to do. So, but it's been great. Very excited to be here. Trying to get around to meet all the different commissions. It's going to take me a while, but I wanted to just introduce myself. You may have read a little bit about me. I came here from Orange County. I was with the city of Garden Grove in Orange County for 7.5 years. And before that, I had a long career with the city of Cincinnati back in the Midwest for about 27 years. So kind of a short time there. But anyway, so, but like I said, very excited to be here, and it's been tremendous trying to just get established, get to meet everybody. You know, it's been hectic, but a lot of fun. You know, all the commissions, I'm going to spend some time hopefully getting to learn all about the issues that you're dealing with, everything that is going on. Obviously, we want to provide the best services possible to our community. And so, you know, that's what I'm really interested in. There were a couple things that were really important to me. And I see 2 of my 5 bosses are here on this call. Mayor Pro Tem Bernstein, I see him here, and Councilman DeHart is on the call here. So thanks to both of you for your interest. And I've been talking to these 2 gentlemen a lot over the last 3 weeks. They're putting me through my paces pretty good. I do want to just say, you know, there's some, when I talked to the council and I interviewed for the job, you know, there were some things that were really important to me. One is, you know, the community is why we exist. And we need to be listening to our community. We need to be paying attention. They've got a lot of good ideas, and I always enjoy engaging with them. I also want to try and promote innovation whenever we can. You know, that's the way we figure out how to achieve excellence. And really, my experience is that we're really successful when we can all kind of figure out how to, how we're all in this together. We're collaborating internally, we're competing externally. So those are all things that are really, really important to me. I know you've got a full agenda, Chair, and so I don't want to take up too much time. I do want to just mention, though, that, and I don't know if you have very many people or people listening in on this call, but obviously I've been getting emails about the swim center, how it's operating, how it's functioning, what some of the challenges are. And I think when I turned my phone on the first day, I told some people I had 350 messages waiting for me on all matter of subjects. And but I've gotten my share of calls about the swim center. For anybody listening, I think I've read almost all of them. I just haven't been able to respond to all of them. But it's pretty clear to me that, and it's also important to me that I really respond in the right way to a lot of those calls. And, you know, I've talked to some of the staff, I've talked to some of my 5 bosses on the city council about it. One of the things that I think would be really helpful, and what I'd like to do, is establish a city manager's working group for swim center excellence. And if I can indulge you, Chairman, for just a quick second, I'd like to really mobilize the staff that we have to really try and look at some of the issues that have been expressed to me about the swim center. I kind of break them down into a few areas. You know, one is kind of organizational stuff, how things are scheduled, arranged, programs that we use. Another area is sort of what I would call facilities related issues. The aging of the facility or the uptake of the facility, cleanliness of it. And then there's clearly, you know, issues to be discussed around staffing and those sort of things. And I've spoken recently to our assistant city manager, Teresa Gallivan, our Parks and Works director, Yvonne Wise, that those are some of the things that have sort of stood out in my mind. And if the commission would be so kind as to let me put this working group together, I'd really like to work with our city staff and anybody on the community that would be willing to kind of roll up their sleeves and work with me kind of on how we can make this facility just something that's really a jewel. I mean, you know, the setting is fantastic. I've walked around the facility, and there's people that have spoken to me that have concerns about the swim center, but have said, this is just a one-of-a-kind facility, and we really deserve to do everything we can to really make it something that we're all proud of and everybody feels comfortable using. So I've talked to my staff, and I'd like to, if you don't mind, I'd like to kick off my working group, my first working group meeting with the community on April 11th at 5:30. And we could maybe have it at the swim center there in the room where we had the Blue Zones meeting, some other things. And I would invite anybody and everybody who's interested, again, in working with me and my staff to come up with the best possible practices that we can use. So again, it's something that's a positive for all of us. And there's no doubt in my mind, working together with the community, that we can get there. So I'm anxious to hear from the community. I'm anxious to hear from folks that have spent a lot of time writing emails to me, and I have appreciated every one of those emails that I've gotten, and I've read every one of them. I just haven't been able to respond to all of them, and I'd like to really have a face-to-face discussion with folks and figure out how we can kind of break this down, look at some of these areas and really see what makes sense. You know, we're going into our budget year. I'm going to be working on a budget to prepare and present to my 5 bosses that we will have to approve on July 1st. And so some of this input sooner rather than later I know will be very helpful to me. So I'm available for any questions that the commission might have for me now. I don't know if I'm going to have all the answers for you, Mr. Chairman, but I'm here and I'm ready to work and I'm ready to listen and kind of get some of this work started. So just wanted to share some of those thoughts with you. And again, any of the commissioners would like to spend a little time with me, I'd be happy to do that too. So just wanted to kind of make some of those comments and appreciate the time that you've given me. And, you know, the commission can talk a little bit about some of my thinking, but if that comports with anything that all of you might think is helpful, I'd like to convene kind of a listening session and an organizational session on April 11th, if that makes sense to you. So with that, I'll kind of shut up, Chairman, and listen to any feedback you might have for me.
Thank you, Mr. Stiles. I truly appreciate you coming on here. I look forward to working with you. I know I will personally be there. I know some of our other commissioners will be there as well as a good part of our city too is very anxious to work with you on this. So I'm just looking forward to seeing what we can get done to get this moving forward and make like you said, the gem, the actual productive pool that we should have for the city that we deserve. So I just truly appreciate the city having the open arms and saying, hey, we're here to listen and work with everybody, which I hope our citizens appreciate that too, which is great. We're here just to serve.
Well, you know, obviously, look, I'm new to the community, but I know what I don't know, and I know I need to listen to the community a lot on this issue, and that's exactly what I intend to do. I know our director and Ms. Gallivan, I think, are going to be giving a little update presentation to the commission about some of the staffing challenges, some of the new people that are coming on. We certainly had our share of challenges, but I know, and I've talked to them a little bit about what they're going to be presenting today. I did want to preface it. I know the Mayor Pro Tem knows that Mayor Pro Tem Bernstein knows that I have a very critical meeting that I've got to be at 6:30. So I will have to jump off in a little bit here. But that's why I wanted to really, I wanted to dedicate some of my time in April, and I just think it'll be a real productive for me to spend some time with the community and all the stakeholders that care so much about the swim center.
Well, we appreciate it. I know a lot of us do. Me personally, as a multiple stakeholder of this community, I really do appreciate it. Also, the chairman of the board, and just been here for 40 plus years, we really do appreciate it. So we look forward to working with you. Thank you, Mr. Stiles, and we won't take any more of your time. I know you're a busy man, you're running the whole city, but we just appreciate everything you're doing. And also from me to you, welcome to the city of Palm Springs. We love to have you.
Oh, thank you very much. I mean, everybody's been very welcoming, lots of good ideas. And I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to engage with you. So thank you very much.
Wonderful. Thank you, sir. Do any of my fellow commissioners have any questions for Mr. Stiles? I think we're all just looking forward to April 11th. So with that being said, Mr. Stiles, like I said, I'm not going to take any more of your time. I'm going to move this meeting on. I do appreciate everything you're doing for us and helping us out with this, sir.
And Chair Alcorn, before we move to the next agenda item, can I just see if Mayor Pro Tem Bernstein wanted to say anything, or if you're just attending the meeting?
I'm just attending. I've had a lot of comments and I know Councilmember DeHart's here, but I just I want to make myself available to. I'm sort of limited in what I can do, but I can help understand what's going on and help direct Scott on things that need taken care of. So I just want to show my support and to the community and be here to listen and learn from you and see what I can do to help.
And Councilmember DeHart, did you want to say anything?
Same here. I'm here to listen and show support to the commission and pledge obvious support to our city manager as we work through some of these challenges that have popped up recently.
Awesome. Thank you, gentlemen. I know from the commission, we appreciate it. So with that being said, I'm going to move on. Is that okay to the next section of our meeting, everybody? Let's go to public comments. At this time, it's been set aside for members of the public to address the Parks and Recreation Commission on an agenda item and items of general interest within the subject matter jurisdiction of the commission. All public comments will be limited to 3 minutes per speaker. So at this time, do we have any public comments?
And if you are a member of the public, if you can possibly use the raise hand feature, we will move you over to the meeting. It looks like we have Jeff Nelson.
Mr. Nelson, are you there, sir?
Are you able to hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Starting my three
I'll
minutes.
go ahead. I'll do your timing, sir. So go
Okay.
ahead and start with your time now.
Thank you. Jeff Nelson, on behalf of the Palm Springs Swim Center Watchdogs, we prepared a presentation which was forwarded to the commission in your packet, so you all should have that. I'll depart briefly from my prepared remarks to say that we welcome greatly the comments by City Manager Stiles just now, and not just for what he said, but this is the first time we have heard anyone associated with the city make a specific commitment to have a specific date and time at which members of the public can come in and have a conversation, rather than this one-way forum that we don't get any reaction or don't get to have any conversation. So we greatly appreciate that, and we feel that it is long overdue, and we are very much looking forward to constructively participating. As we stated in our presentation last month, we really want to help. Many of us swim every day, and this facility is a huge part of our mental and physical health. But the current conditions are frankly a disgrace, and should be a disgrace for every member of this commission, because of just how far the facility has fallen from what it once was. We feel that, and as we stated, that leadership at all levels is direly needed. The issues of operations need to be addressed in terms of closures and reduced operations, with less than 50% of the time during this past month, the pool being available for use. And we need much more communication. The communication has been virtually non-existent, and that's really created a very difficult situation. And I think even the chair yourself said at the last meeting, public needs to be able to get information on what's going on rather than just hearing it around the pool. But unfortunately, in the month that has passed since your last meeting, we haven't gotten any of that information. There's been no effort whatsoever to provide any ability for the public to learn and to hear what's going on. Sorry, I just realized I didn't have my video turned on. So in any event, we are very excited about the new city manager's initiative, and we feel that there will be many members of the public that are more than willing to engage in a constructive and thoughtful manner to help restore the swim centers to something that everybody in the community and visitors, swimmers coming from around the country can be proud of, as was once the case. I will finish my remarks there. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Nelson. Appreciate it. We look forward to working with you too.
Thanks.
Learned to swim there in 1982, so I love that pool.
Great.
All right, so with that being said, is there any other public comments?
It looks like we have Stan May.
Mr. May, are you available?
Okay, I just unmuted and turned on my video. I
Awesome.
assume I can be seen?
Yeah, welcome, Mr. May. This is Jerry Alcorn, the chairman. I am going to start your time right now. You have 3 minutes, sir.
Thank you. First of all, I also want to thank Mr. Stiles. I just let out a big whoop as soon as you mentioned forming the committee. Thank you. What I wanted to do is I wanted to read an email that I sent to the world this morning, basically to Mr. Stiles, to the mayor, to the mayor pro tem, to the PNR director after the swim was canceled today. Oh boy, this is sure getting tiring. I'm sure you heard that the swim center was closed again this morning due to 2 lifeguards calling out. I can't hang this on the lifeguards because they are trying to do the work of 8 FTEs with 1 full-time and 2 part-time lifeguards. Julia and Maya are terrific. They are there every day with smiles and great attitudes. I can't help but wonder if they are starting to burn out, leading to today's closure. The email that I received announcing the closure was sent at 6:54 a.m., while over a dozen of us were at the swim center waiting for it to open. As the email suggested, I did click on the swim center website for any information, and I saw the notice at the bottom of the page announcing, "We're hiring. Find out more information here." I did click on the link and discovered that there were no solicitations for lifeguards or any other swim center positions listed. Only PNR solicitations were for recreation program assistant and for an assistant director of PR. It's curious that we're told that the city is doing everything it can to hire lifeguards, including hiring an outside firm, yet the positions are not even listed on the city website. Just to give a little background, when the swim center reopened during the pandemic in July of 2020, Lindy Mills and her staff did yeoman's work to learn and implement a reservation system and keep the pool open and safe with only minimal closures due to COVID illnesses or mechanical system failures. During that time, we were able to use the pool consistently, and when there were issues, Lindy and her staff were totally transparent with their explanations. That transparency no longer seems to be the case. Sometimes it feels like the staff has been muzzled and cannot respond to our queries. Like many older adults in Palm Springs, swimming is my primary form of exercise due to various health concerns. Other swim center users have similar needs, and when the pool is closed, my health suffers. Scott, I know you've only been on the job for a short time, but the swim center users have been living with the mismanagement of the swim center for over 6 months now. How long do we have to wait?
Stop you
and-
right there, sir, but your 3 minutes are up.
Thank you so much.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. Sorry to interrupt you too. I do apologize.
I was complete.
Thank you, sir. Any other public comments?
We do. We have Don Zudima. And I apologize if I've pronounced your name wrong, Don.
Mute, join us, panel.
How you doing, Don? This is Jerry from the Parks and Recreation Commission. I see you're looks like you're in the room. Can you unmute yourself and maybe turn your video on, sir?
There, try now.
There, are you able to hear me now?
I can hear you, sir. Yes, sir. How you doing?
Very good. I'm also a swimmer. I swim 4 or 5 times a week at the pool. And it is frustrating getting there and saying the pool is closed again today. And again, as was mentioned, we're not sure what the staffing issue is. Everybody seems to be mum on that. I've even said to them, I would be happy to be a lifeguard here on notice. Should you need a lifeguard? I used to manage a pool, and I swam all through college on a scholarship. And when they told me the pay was $16.35, I thought to myself, that's probably why they can't get anybody to work here. Who's going to go through the training and be a lifeguard for $16.35 an hour? So that may be one of the problems, that you're not getting anybody interested in becoming a lifeguard there. The facilities, as was mentioned, are abhorrent. I did a video in the locker room one time and the showers, watching the cockroaches run back and forth in the shower room, and the grass that had collected on all the drains, that the water wasn't going down. There was a clogged toilet that morning, which was later unclogged the following day. The lockers are all broken. There's not one locker that isn't bent or unusable. So what should be a shining example of a beautiful Olympic 50-meter pool is really a sad comment on what it could be. So I hope, listening to everybody tonight, Mr. Stiles, I look forward to that meeting in April, that we can discuss what can be done. And I think lifeguard issue is a big one. The lifeguards that are there now, I thought it was very interesting. Last week when I was there, the lower half of the pool, the deep end, was all closed off because the lifeguard on duty can't swim. So he could only save or help someone in the shallow area. I've never heard of such a thing. And all those lanes were taken away. But anyway, I look forward to the meeting on April 11th and hope something can be done to remedy this situation. Thank you.
Thank you, Don, very much. Appreciate your comments, sir. Is there any more public comment?
Yes, I believe there is. It looks like we have, I think, Eric Dyke.
Mr. Dyke, how you doing, sir? Can you hear me? Mr. Dyke, are you on board here?
I see Eric, you may need.
Okay, I just discovered I was muted. I'm so sorry. Can you
No
hear me now?
problem, sir. How you doing,
Okay.
Mr.? Yes,
I'm
sir.
okay. Yes. So my name is Eric Dyke and I'm a paraplegic. Swimming is one of the only forms of exercise I can do to keep my physical and mental health in check. Of late, I've been using the Palm Desert Pool for a number of reasons, which I'd like to share. I've been dealing with the city for 6 years now with respect to human rights and ADA issues with the pool, to which I seem to have not been getting any progress. I had a meeting with Mrs. Wise in February, of which I asked her to recap my concerns back to me in an email. I never did receive this, and again, I asked for the following up again a few weeks later, and still to this date have not had the recap. When I arrive at the pool, I have to maneuver through a messy office of boxes, junk, and equipment, as there is no ramp for me to access the pool without going through the office. The normal routine to get me in the pool is by the female staff having to open the door to the men's change room from the office side, where we are faced with naked men showering. Not a comfortable feeling for the ladies or the men in the showers or myself. This is clearly a human rights issue and an ADA violation. I've been told for 6 years a solution is in the works, but nothing has happened. I've been told many times it will come soon. It's been 6 years now since I started this journey with the city. Last year, after several years of non-functioning chair lift, I was instrumental in having it replaced. The new chairlift does not allow me deep enough in the water, and often I'm denied swimming due to the battery not being charged or the AD lane is rented out. When will this be addressed with a firm date? It's been 6 years and I'm exhausted with trying to work with the city. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you, Mr. Dyke. Thank you for that information. I appreciate that. Any other public comments?
I don't see any. Does anyone else in the waiting room wish to speak? If so, could you please just use the raise hand? We do. We have Laura.
All right.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes. Hey, Laura, how you doing?
Hey, I'm great. I'm coming live from Palm Springs Pool right now. And I'd like to also welcome Mr. Stiles to our beautiful city of Palm Springs. And I cannot tell you how thrilled I am with your comments tonight, Mr. Stiles, in regards to creating a committee to really work with the community on improving this pool. Talk about a gem right here. I mean, it's from ages of infancy all the way up to, I mean, at our masters meet that we held in January, we actually had a woman that was 103 years old that swam at our masters meet. So it's a gem that benefits everybody. And unfortunately, over the last 6 months, primarily while Lindy was away, but it has gone downhill, deteriorated, and it's just a very sad situation. Little history on myself. I was a teacher for 22 years for Palm Springs Unified School District. I love this city. I quit a 6-figure salary job last year to come and work full-time as a swim team coach right here. And I have passion for this place. My goal, I've already been in contact with USA Swim and Southern California Swimming. My husband and I have written $60,000 worth of grants for the city of Palm Springs for the pool. My goal is to write grants to get us another pool so we can have a competition pool, and we can also have a pool for people that are not competing, that just want to use it for physical fitness. However, it is not happening right now with Miss Wise at the league. She does not return phone calls. She does not communicate. She does not want to let us know what's going on. And it's been extremely frustrating. So I'm just thrilled that you're here. I will be there to be a part of the committee, to give my input, to support this city, to help however I can to make this a better place for our kids and for everyone, quite frankly. Thank you for letting me speak, and I look forward to meeting you in person.
Thank you, Laura. With that being said, is there any other public comments?
I do not see anyone else with their hand raised. Does anyone else wish to speak? Okay, I think that is it.
All right. With that being said, not trying to move along the meeting, but I am. So we're going to move on to the next section of the meeting. We're done with the public comments. We're going to move on to the director's report. Ms. Wise, do you have a report for us, please?
I do. So in this section of the agenda, I'll just briefly provide some updates about things that have been going on at Parks and Rec. And obviously, you have already met our new city manager who started earlier this month. So again, City Manager Stiles, welcome to the city. We have 2 items that are Parks and Recreation items that will need to go to future council meetings. We don't have the date for these meetings yet, but we have our landscape conversions. So that's the drought tolerant landscaping that we have been working on over the past several months. And that agreement needs to go to council, as well as the new playground equipment, the agreement for that for Demuth Park, as well as Victoria Park. We are still operating our 2 community centers, James O. Jesse and Demuth, as warming centers. And they'll remain warming centers through the end of this week, March 31st. And then at some point in June, they will actually switch over to become our cooling centers for the community as well. We have the new volleyball nets replaced at Ruth Hardy as well as Victoria Park. So this is just a image of those new nets, and we have already seen many individuals out there playing volleyball. I think this was mentioned at the last commission meeting. So I just wanted to provide the report that we got the new nets up and they are already in use. City Manager Stiles mentioned blue zones. So the Parks and Recreation Department joined the Planning Department, Sustainability, Engineering, as well as Neighborhoods to give some presentations on how the city potentially impacts blue zones. And we participated to talk about the work of the Parks and Recreation Department in terms of the number of parks and some of our recreational programs and amenities. To see in the future how those key factors might be able to influence Palm Springs as a potential blue zone. And those presentations occurred on March 15th and March 16th. We've had a lot of special events happening over the past 4 or so days. Just yesterday on Sunday, we had the U.S. Navy Band concert, which took place at 4 p.m. at the Plaza Theater. The event was very well attended, and there you can actually see Mayor Pro Tem Bernstein as well. Otherwise, it was a really nice packed audience to enjoy that chorus. Other events happening around town, Village Fest turned 31. So on Thursday night from 6 to 10, we had a huge birthday celebration for Village Fest. I think over 1,000 or so cupcakes were actually given out to the community. And there was a lot of entertainment and just a lot of fun with Village Fest. The 1PS annual picnic. This is the 14th year that the picnic occurred. That happened on Saturday, March 25th from 11 to 2 at Ruth Hardy Park. Parks and Recreation was out in full force, and we were handing out information about our programs, as well as you can see some of our sign displays there that talk about some of those amenities that we have at our community centers. And I just have a few other photos for those who didn't have time to make it out. It was very well attended. I don't know exactly what the head count was, but it was certainly high. It was a beautiful day. I actually see Commissioner Diaz in that photo on the left there. And of course, I see Councilmember DeHart. Bicycles, of course, were a big part of the event. Chair Alcorn there on the left. There were basketball games and just a lot of activities for the community. And then one more of just some Parks and Recreation staff at the 1PS picnic. Some upcoming events, I just wanted to get these on your calendar or remind you, we have talked about these in previous meetings. Saturday, April 8th, we have the 85th anniversary of the City of Palm Springs. This event will be largely held at the downtown park, and it is also going to include a car procession with all of the vehicles for the past 85 years in honor of this momentous occasion. So April 8th from 12 to 9, if you are available to attend. The other event that we've talked about a little bit is Saturday, April 15th. This is the World Art Day Festival, which will be held at Demuth Park. And this is one that we are doing in collaboration as well with the Art Commission. So we will be on hand talking to the public about the importance of parks and art related programs. We are still working on trying to find a good day to do our Parks and Recreation open house at the Demuth Community Center. And my current thoughts right now is that that will likely be held in May. So we will get you that date as soon as possible. And that will be an opportunity for the community to learn about a wider variety of some of the programs and projects that are underway, including dog parks, pickleball courts, as well as programs offered at the community centers. Next up, we always talk about how we're doing on hiring at each of our meetings. So we have hiring in process for a program coordinator for special events, and that person should be starting next month, as well as our 4 part-time park rangers, and we are working on those start dates as well, and I believe those are all falling in April as well. A little bit just about park rangers, because of course our park rangers are new to the city of Palm Springs. So these will be new for FY23. Our park rangers are really going to be our eyes and ears on the ground. They're going to help us manage our public spaces better. They'll also be focused on community outreach and education. They'll serve as a liaison and resource for the public, and they'll also support a wide variety of our parks and recreational activities. So we will have 4 part-time park rangers joining us soon. And in terms of hours for the rangers, we're still working those out, but right now we are envisioning having the hours split so that we can have rangers on site 7 days a week. We are in, so this question actually came up in the public comment section. Why, when you clicked on the link, did you not see any recruitments for lifeguards? That's because we're already in the interviewing phase for lifeguards. So we are no longer receiving any applications. We are completing the final interviews for 3 lifeguard positions this week. So we are hiring 2 lifeguards as well as a lead lifeguard. So hopefully that answers the question on why when you click the link to the city's website to see the positions that are open, that you don't see these, and that's because the interviews are already underway. We do have 2 new open recruitments, so these you will see on our website. We are hiring an assistant director as well as a recreation program assistant, and that latter position is a part-time position. And as you know, at the last meeting, I think I had announced that we had just brought on board 4 recreation program assistants, so this will be our 5th recreation program assistant. So we are really focused on all efforts to get our department fully staffed so that we can better serve our community and be there to support the breadth of the programs that we want to offer. And I think that is where I landed on my director's report. So that's all I have for you today.
Awesome. Thank you, Mrs. Wise. That's great news about the lifeguards, all the hiring. Great, great job. So with that being said, does anybody have any questions, comments, or concerns for Ms. Wise? Any comments on the director's report? All right, I don't hear anybody chiming up. So with that, we're going to move on to presentation action items. Presentation number 1 is Desert Exhibit. Are they available for the presentation?
Yes, I'm available.
Hi, Ms. Gladstone.
Hi, everyone. Can I be in?
Yes, ma'am. It's on you. You're in the meeting. Please, we'd love to hear your presentation.
Great, thanks. Well, thanks everyone for having me today. I'm Mara Gladstone, Deputy Director and Head of Programs. This is a belated presentation about a Desert X project that is currently on view in the amazing James O. Jesse Desert Highland Community Center Park. It's a project by the Cahuilla artist Gerald Clark, who has worked on I worked with him as a public arts commissioner on a sign project, which currently is still present in several of the city's parks. But Gerald's an amazing artist, teacher, tribal leader, and cultural practitioner who's from the Cahuilla Band of Indians in Anza, which are the mountain Cahuilla. And he lives on the home his grandfather built. He's also a cattle rancher. And he's a really amazing artist because what I love what he does is that he uses play and humor to bring knowledge to us. And next slide, please. What he proposed is a project called Immersion, which is 100-foot in diameter flat sculptural work that takes the form of a traditional Cahuilla coiled basket called a chipatmal. And so by referencing the traditions of the Cahuilla people here and their basket weaving, he creates a game board. So visitors are either given cards, we have some printed cards, or they can use digital cards on their phone and are invited to enter the work from one of 4 directions. And then they, here are the project materials. I'm sorry, we'll just talk about the project materials. All of the materials are organic and are meant to be recycled. And I would like to come back to this, the question of the materials later on. So he uses wood as well as straw wattles, which are usually used in construction. All these materials don't damage the landscape, and he has successfully made a similar project on another site in Southern California. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. These are just planning. It's flat to the ground. Oh, actually, this is we weren't able to realize the sound component on the artwork itself. Instead, you scan when you get to the center of the game and win the game. You can scan a QR code and hear a song, an oral history, a story from an elder. And so your prize is something that's very much valued by Gerald. It's a kind of knowledge that not all of us are able to access, but he shares with us these oral histories, songs, stories, traditions through sound, which you can access on your phone. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. The cards, we don't have a card box, but cards are distributed to all of our school groups. We've already brought 700 students to this and other Desert X sites in the last week, and are planning to bring another 700 or more. Cards are also distributed on Saturday mornings by our site docents who share the cards with people who visit. Next slide, please. This is incorrect. Next slide, please. And this is some great new photography. This is correct. This is some great new photography. These images were actually featured in the New York Times. The Desert X had a pretty terrific review in the New York Times, and Gerald in his project got 2 full photographs. So the author really loved his work. And this is a view of the artwork as seen from above, which you can only really see from a plane. So you can see that cultural connection to basket making. And you can see how its imprint doesn't really disturb the land that is there. Next slide, please. Yeah, this is just some information about the Cahuilla Band of Indians. As we know, the Cahuilla people have lived in the Coachella Valley for quite some time. There are 9 tribes. The one that most people have heard of is the Agua Caliente, but the Cahuilla Band of Indians speak a similar language, some small dialectical differences, but are up in the mountains. Next slide, please. And this is not, I'd like to also share that for every exhibition that Desert X has put up in the Coachella Valley, Indigenous artists have always been represented. So this is our 4th exhibition and the 4th Indigenous artist that we have shown in our projects. Next slide, please. These are our curators, Diana Campbell and Neville Wakefield. Next slide, please. We always acknowledge the land. This artwork is a living acknowledgement of the land. Next slide. And thank you very much for your time. I wanted to mention just a couple more things about our education outreach, just so you're aware, and our communication as well with the Parks and Recreation staff. We are in constant conversation with Ann and Jarvis at the James O. Jesse Center about any visits that are more than 2 people from our groups, whether they're VIPs and donors or school children. So we work very closely with them to inform them when we're coming to the site in big groups. And it's been really fun. Last week, we started our school tours. And as I mentioned, we brought about 12 school buses of kids from throughout the Coachella Valley, from Desert Hot Springs all the way to Thermal. So we just want to share with you that it's very important for us to be able to share the great resources of Palm Springs with people throughout the Coachella Valley. And many students have never been to this part of Palm Springs. So when we're there, we also try to share a little bit of the other histories of Palm Springs and this area, its adjacency to the Santa Snow Monument. There used to be the water from the wash used to flow there. And so there are a lot of really beautiful histories that we're able to share and introduce visitors from the Coachella Valley and beyond to the site. I also wanted to mention that we have a few other education events coming up this weekend in collaboration with the Palm Springs Art Museum, and we would love to participate in your World Art Day at Demuth Park. So I would love to talk with your staff about how to do that, especially since Gerald's work is represented at that park. We also have several members from the Demuth Park community who actually work and volunteer for Desert X. So it's something we would love to continue a conversation with you about. Finally, I just want to thank you at Parks and Rec, all the staff, the commissioners for always supporting art in our parks and for supporting Desert X. And we appreciate your nimbleness and willingness to work with us year after year to share this work, this artwork and your parks with all of our visitors. So we'll be able to share with you a final report at the end of the exhibition, which closes on May 7th.
Thank you for that wonderful presentation, Ms. Gladstone. Is there any questions or comments from any of the other fellow commissioners from Ms. Gladstone, Desert X? And I'm personally, I'm looking forward to seeing you at the Art Day too on the 15th. All right, with that, nobody raising any hands. I don't hear anything. I just want to say thank you for joining us and a wonderful presentation again. And we love the Desert X, love what you guys have done. I've personally showed all my kids all the different exhibits throughout all the town. So thank you.
Oh, I should mention one more thing. On April 5th, we're taking the kids in the FKO summer camp. You're getting the executive director and the deputy director giving those kids a tour of Desert X. And on the 12th, we're bringing the summer camp kids from the James O. Jesse Center around to see some sites as well. So
wonderful. You guys are awesome. Seriously awesome. Thank you so much.
Oh, it's just a pleasure.
Yes, ma'am. No, the pleasure's all ours. Look forward to working with you. Okay, with that presentation being said, once again, wonderful presentation. We're going to move the meeting on. Our next presentation would be swim center updates. Can we get a staff, please allow us some swim center updates?
Okay, absolutely. Back over to me. So we wanted to provide just some updates on how we operate the swim center, how we're doing on staffing, as well as some of the programming that's currently taking place, and then close out with talking about the survey that we issued in late December, which closed in January. So to get started, one of the first things that I wanted to mention is, there's been a lot of just sort of talk about the shortage that's happening right now with lifeguards across the nation. And interesting enough, the recent issue of Parks and Recreation magazine did have a special section about solving staffing shortages for aquatics. So I wanted to just at the beginning of this presentation, just touch on a couple of the little tidbits and sort of sound bites that we gleaned from that document. The article talked about, turnover in jobs and of course, why people quit jobs. This data here is not related to the aquatics industry specifically. It's just related to why people leave jobs in general. Lack of work-life balance, burnout, no flexible schedules, things like that. So that's just some, basic reason why there might be turnover in jobs. But the article did go on to talk about specific areas that organizations should be thinking about in terms of aquatics. And those were compensation, the work culture, work-life balance, as well as challenges of the industry. Of course, compensation, we've been looking at in terms of how much we pay our lifeguards at each of those different bands and at each of those different ranges, as well as the value of the city's CalPERS retirement system. We also have been looking at some of the feedback that we read about sort of work culture in terms of making sure that there's upward mobility for each position. And sometimes with aquatics, that's not always the case, where it's the case for other parks and recreation fields. The third area, of course, work-life balance. The study showed that in aquatics specifically, work-life balance can be a little bit more challenging. And that is in part because of the nature of a lot of the work involves a lot of on-call hours and a lot of, evenings and weekends, which can make it challenging to have a career in aquatics, as well as a lot of lifeguards have been working in the study, a lot of overtime hours as well. The final area that we can also look at to see how it applies to our specific Palm Springs Swim Center and our Parks and Recreation aquatic staff are some of the industry challenges. And that has to do with, in part, that over the past 2 years, there have been unprecedented sort of like turnover for all positions. So there's just a lot of movement across all industries right now, where people are actually leaving jobs and taking new jobs and looking for better fits in terms of a more well-rounded fit. Some of the areas that were mentioned that we should be thinking about in terms of our aquatics staff is there are particular strengths that are not just related to aquatics, that are related to customer service, their ability to be emergency responders, and as well as time management skills that our aquatics staff sort of has as sort of an excellent skill set. So that's just a little bit about what's happening nationally with aquatics. And I'm going to talk a little bit about what's going on now at our swim center. So how do we staff the Palm Springs Swim Center? We do it through two primary ways. So we have our city staff lifeguards. So this can be full-time city staff lifeguards as well as part-time positions. And our city staff lifeguards, of course, are all members of the Parks and Recreation Department. We also, as needed, may hire temporary staffing lifeguards. And the reason why we may hire temp staff is that we may have staff that are out on leave, or we may be sort of doing a seasonal program, like a summer camp program, where we may just need to sort of work with a number of temporary lifeguards. For us right now, having some temporary lifeguards has been incredibly beneficial because when we have staff that have been out on leave, having a temp lifeguard on hand that can step in to keep our pool open is really ideal for us. And on some of those days where, of course, we've had the closure, we've not had the right balance of temporary staff to be able to step in to keep the pool open. In terms of our hiring right now of temporary lifeguards, over this past weekend, we just had a new temp lifeguard start with us. We also have been spending time trying to figure out the right organizational structure for our lifeguard series at the City of Palm Springs. So as you can see on this graphic, it shows what our career growth ladder is and what it is going to be moving forward with the addition of a new aquatic manager position. So at last month's meeting, at last month's Parks and Rec meeting, I noted that City Council had approved a new position for our department, which is the position of aquatic manager. This lineup that you see from aquatic manager down to supervisor, lead lifeguard, and then lifeguards is the same model that the City of Palm Desert uses successfully. For us, we created that aquatic manager position because one, we wanted to make sure that we had growth in this lifeguard series for our staff to continue to have a career as a lifeguard at our aquatic center, as well as bring in new levels of skill set that we actually need to manage a facility of its size, scope, and scale. The timeline for this recruitment, so as I think someone noted at the beginning of the meeting, this position is not yet on the city's website, and that is because it's brand new to us. So we still need to finalize creating the job description, and as soon as that is done, it will be posted on the website for that recruitment to take place. We have our aquatic supervisor back on deck, so we do not have a vacancy at that level anymore. We do have one lead lifeguard vacancy right now, and we are interviewing or doing the second round of interviews for that position this week. And then we have two lifeguard recruitments that we are also interviewing for this week, and that's for one full-time position and one part-time position. So this week, we will hopefully have the decisions made for filling three vacancies. And then shortly thereafter, we will have the position created and posted for us to be able to hire a new manager. In terms of our standard hours, we obviously have been getting, with modifying hours, we have been getting questions about, well, what are your standard hours? It's hard to, tell anymore what those hours are. So our standard hours that we've been using are Monday through Saturday, we're open from 7 to 3 p.m. And on Sundays, we are open from 8 to 3 p.m. When we've had to modify our operational hours, we post that on the city's website, on the Swim Center page, and I have the highlighted area there that you can see from a modified schedule that we had for last week. So that's one way that the public can go to the website to see if there's any changes in the standard operating hours. Our contact information, we have just this past year, we've started using a new email address, swim@palmspringsca.gov. We're using that email because multiple staff from the department can respond to inquiries. So our strategy in having a generic email, one, it's easy to remember, and two, if that one staff person is not there, having multiple staff that can address questions, it just seems to be a better way for us to be increasing our communications with the public. We also use that email address for our email distribution list. So for anyone who's signed up on that list, they will also receive emails about changes in operational hours. Maintaining that list for us is not the easiest thing to do. Because we have to do it we have to do it manually. So anytime someone emails to change an email address or to be added or even deleted from the list, we have to go into the system and do that. We have been working with our IT department to potentially pilot a new text alert system that would enable the user to be able to make those updates themselves. So we'll keep looking into that to see if that is a better way or just another way to be communicating with our swim patrons. The email address as well as our phone number is also listed on the website as well. So I just have that screen capture from the city's website. Next, I wanted to talk about our programming and, how we're programming the swim center. So in addition to public swim, so having the community, use lanes for their athletic and recreational purposes, there are 5 other areas that we utilize to program the swim center, and I will walk through each of those. The first is classes. So for this area right now, we have water aerobics offered to the community Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays from 10 to 11, $5 a class. This is our water aerobics series with Donna, which is very popular in the community. And every time these classes are taking place, we always receive a lot of positive feedback about having this offering in the pool. The second area where we program the swim center is through swim practices. So we work with the Palm Springs High School, who uses our pool for their practice sessions. Anytime school is in session, we have an agreement with them to use the pool. We also partner with the Piranhas, Elite Otters, as well as the Master Swim Team for those swim teams to be able to use lanes to get their exercise. So that's the second area of how we program the swim center through those swim practices. The third area is through special events. So the Parks and Recreation Department, as well as other departments, may produce special events that take place at the swim center. And for us, for our department, when we do these events, many of the events are actually focused on our youth to get our kids into the pool. So we do an annual 4th of July pool party. In the fall, we usually do our floating pumpkin event, and we also have our summer dive-in movie series where everyone can come out and grab a float and watch a movie at the same time. And these are also incredibly popular special events that take place at the pool throughout the year. And I believe on that picture at the top right, you can see the movie screen as well. Fourth area that we do for programming is facility rentals. So sometimes our facility gets used by swim meets and camps. So I have a couple of listings of some of the most recent swim meets and camps that have decided to host their activity at the swim center. We obviously had the WAGS Championship just in December, and just last week we had Team New York Aquatics on site using the pool, as well as West Hollywood Aquatics for their training camp program. So while there are not a lot of these swim meets and camp facility rentals throughout the year, there are a handful of those that occur every year as well. One of the other ways that the facility gets rented is for photo shoots. So occasionally we have requests for filming as well as for advertising photos to be shot at our pool. And those photos on the left were from Swim Outlet in 2022 that used our pool as a showcase for some of their advertising. The fifth area for programming is maintenance and operations. So we do get a lot of questions about who does what and how does the facility get maintained. And it is through a variety of different staffing and personnel. So some of the work Parks and Recreation staff does. Some of the work is actually done by our Maintenance and Facilities Department, which is part of Public Works. We also have, the city has a janitorial service that provides custodial services for all of our facilities, including the pool. So they clean the restrooms every evening and take out the trash and do things like that, as well as in our community centers. From time to time, we also have to use on-call contractors. So last week, we had a tree root issue in our plumbing pipes. And as some of our swim patrons noticed, some of those pipes began to get backed up. So for something like that, we called our on-call contractor who scoped the pipes and were able to remove some of those roots that were causing the backup. We also have a security company that we work with in several of our parks, as well as our community centers. We work with Allied Universal Security to provide security for us. The next area that I wanted to talk about, if there are no questions on that so far, should I keep going, commissioners?
Yes, please. I think get through the whole presentation and we'll throw you some questions out when we're done.
Okay, perfect. Our swim survey concluded on January 15th. So just about 2 months ago, our swim survey was completed and we presented those results to the commission at the January meeting. Our intention at that time was to look at the feedback from the survey, which I'm going to quickly walk through again since it's been about 2 months since we've looked at that data again. So our intention was right away to look at the data and then make some changes with our swim lane reservation system. Due to a redirected sort of focus on staffing during the month of February, we paused any changes on the swim lane reservation system, but we are prepared tonight to issue some minor changes to the swim lane reservation system as a pilot to see if we might be able to come up with a better practice that will better serve our community. So just a reminder about the swim lane reservation survey. And again, the survey was really focused just on how lanes get used in the pool. It was a very short 10 questions. We had 363 responses. We asked our respondents whether or not they were residents of the city of Palm Springs. Over 94% or 94% were residents. We were also curious about how often people were using the pool, if it was seasonally or year-round. 83% of our respondents were using the pool year-round. The other area that we were curious about was how many times a week were people using the pool. So over 92% of our respondents were using the pool more than once. So almost everyone, was coming to the pool more than once a week. So of course, repeat users. We were also then curious about getting some more granular data about what days of the week people were coming to use the pool. Was it just weekdays? Was it weekends? Or was it a combination of both? 57% of our users indicated that weekdays and weekends were preferable. The blue area that you see there on that pie chart is the data for just weekday users. We also were curious about whether or not the reservation system allowing a swim lane to be used for 1 hour between 7 to 11 a.m. on Monday through Saturdays was beneficial. Did our users find it beneficial to be able to make a reservation? And yes, 59% of our users said, yeah, this is valuable. We like making reservations. We then asked the question a little bit differently to see would any of our users be interested in an elimination of the lane reservation system to basically go to first come, first serve. And what we found was just more than half were not supportive of us completely eliminating the reservation system. Question 9 asked our swim patrons whether or not they would be interested in sharing lanes during busier times of day, and that was really split down the middle. Our final just sort of question was about the ease of completing the survey because we used a new software system for that. So that was a 4.58 out of 5 stars. So back to swim lane reservations. So right now with the current operational hours of the pool, which is on the left side of the screen that you're looking at there, we're open on Mondays through Saturdays from 7 to 3 and on Sundays from 8 to 3. For swim lane reservations, we take reservations Monday through Saturday between the 7 a.m. to 11 a.m. period. So that means there's a 7 a.m., an 8 a.m., 9 a.m., 10 a.m. reservation because each of those reservations are for a 1 hour reservation. And we do that for multiple swim lanes. And we do not take any reservations for Sundays. Each day, we allow a drop-in swim between 11 to 3 on Mondays through Saturdays. So as you can see there, that beginning of the day, 7 to 11 reservations. And then that second half of the day, 11 to 3, it's no reservations, just drop-in swimmers. And then on Sunday, it's all drop-in, no reservations. So hopefully I've explained that in a way that's clear and wasn't getting a little bit too confusing. So what we are proposing that we will do as a pilot to see if we can sort of reach a wider need in the community is during that 7 to 11 a.m. period, where it was exclusively for reservations, what we would like to do is from 7 to 11 to do both. We will have a limited number of lane reservations as well as a limited number of drop-in lanes. So that means that, swimmers who just want to show up at the pool at 7 a.m., they're welcome to hop in a lane as it's available. And for those swim patrons who really love the benefit of making a lane reservation the night before for a specific lane number, they will still be able to do that as well. I have, here we go. We are planning on starting this new reservation and drop-in pilot next Monday. We want to make sure that we get the word out as well. We've not changed the overall hours for reservations because we don't want to change too many things all at once to make it confusing for the public. So what will change then between 7 and 11 would be the total number of lanes that would be available for reservations. And by reducing that total number of lanes for reservations, it will allow us to also have lanes available during that 7 to 11 a.m. window for our drop-in swimmers, for those individuals who just want to come to the pool and hop in and not have to worry about making a reservation. So that is the pilot that we are planning to launch next Monday, that is April 3rd. And that concludes my update on swim center operations.
Awesome.
I hope that was helpful to provide, yeah, sort of a big variety of what's going on at the swim center.
Yes, yes. Any questions for Ms. Wise on or comments on this presentation?
Looks like we have Commissioner Moralia.
Sure. Mr. Moralia.
Hello. I'm just curious if we switch to this sort of hybrid for Monday through Saturday for the lane reservations, how many lanes will be available compared to total lanes? And does it mean that basically, however that works out, somebody could, like you said, show up at 7 a.m. and just drop in?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that's what we would be trying to achieve. So typically there's about 16 lanes that are available for reservation. So we would just likely split it equally. So 8 lanes for reservations and then the other half being for drop-in.
And based on the past usage, does 8 lanes for reservations seem right? Probably does.
You know, we're not going to know really until we sort of launch the pilot to see how it's working. What we have gotten a lot of feedback on over the last 2 months is, you know, how we were going to modify the lane reservation system, and a lot of feedback about those members who want to swim in the morning. And right now, unless they're willing to make that lane reservation the day before, they don't have an opportunity to swim. And Commissioner Meyer?
Hi, first of all, thank you very much for all this information. I think this is invaluable to the public so that they have an idea of what's going on. But just kind of dovetailing off of Commissioner Moralia's question, do we have any data or any proposals about which lanes would be for reservation versus which lanes would be open? I know that some swimmers have strong preferences about shallow versus the deep water, or are you thinking of like kind of sprinkling them in, or are we kind of just going to see what happens?
Yeah, we did talk about that. So what we want to make sure is that, you know, reservations aren't just for shallow lanes or reservations aren't just for deep lanes, so that we would do a mix of both to ensure that, you know, those individuals who actually have a lane preference, in addition to a reservation or drop-in preference, would have those options.
That's awesome. Thank you so much.
I'm going to throw a couple comments in here, if you don't mind. For our communications, I know the police department uses Nixle to get out to all the community when there's an emergency road closure. Is there a way of us doing that for the pool? You know, getting on the same system, saying, hey, here's what's going on. If we find out the lifeguards call out at midnight, we can let everybody know before the next morning they come in that, hey, pool is closed, here's what's going on. And they can just click on the link and understand it. You know, a little better communication for us. That's a thought.
Absolutely.
I know on the 11th, when we have the meeting, we're going to want to know who's technically in charge of what. I know you said you had facilities, you have staff, but they're going to want to know, what is staff in charge of? What is facilities in charge of? What is this person in charge of? We need to know all that, if that would be pleased.
Okay.
Also, another thing, can we get an update from our building department? Because I know we have upgrades. I'm really perturbed personally hearing Mr. Dyke's comment about the ADA accessibility. You know, that personally affects me and reflects on me too, considering what I do in this city. I'd really like to know, I got a call from some people in the building department saying we're getting new ADA accessible ramp down to the pool. We're getting new possible showers, bathrooms. I'd like to know what's being done for that facility, especially ADA accessibility. That's just deplorable. That should never come up. That should never be even a word thrown out. We need to know what's going on with that too.
Yeah, we can have our engineering department provide the current status of that RFP that went out and what is the timeline for those enhancements.
Wonderful, wonderful. Other than that, I know a lot's going to be hashed out or started on our next meeting for this. I know we're going to work on it on our next agenda. So I appreciate the updates and I look forward to moving forward with this program. With that being said, I have no other comments. Does anybody else have any other comments about the pool and the Parks and Rec? What's going on with it? All right, with that being said, I'm going to move this meeting forward to our next one, which is we have an action item for year 23 ad hoc committee assignments.
So for this one, I wanted to just review what our FY23 ad hoc commissioner assignments are. And at last month's meeting, we talked about perhaps creating a special ad hoc for the swim center. So our ad hocs, of course, are our commissioner working groups. You serve as a liaison then between the community and the city. The commissioner ad hoc groups work with the community to get user experience feedback and then provide those updates to the Parks and Rec Commission, to the full commission. We currently have 5 commissioner ad hocs right now for dog park, landscape conversions, the master plan, park enhancements, and pickleball. We are proposing that we create a 6th ad hoc, and that would be for the swim center. So this would be our lineup of FY23 ad hocs. And then in terms of just reminding you who is on which ad hoc right now, I have the list of commissioners for each. If you do decide that you want to take action tonight to create a swim center ad hoc, then ideally we would also like to know which 2 or 3 commissioners would also like to serve on that ad hoc.
All right. Me personally, I'd like to start the swim center ad hoc. I would like to get it voted in, and I'll be the first to volunteer and be there to help spearhead it. This is Chairman Alcorn.
And Jerry and Yvonne, with your permission, I would like to assist on that endeavor as well for the swim center.
Awesome. Thank you, Mr. Freeland.
We also, I think, had Commissioner Meyer and Commissioner Moralia.
This is Commissioner Meyer. I quickly noticing there might be a mass exodus from the master plan subcommittee. I'm fine with staying on the master plan, but as needed, I'm happy to help out with the swim center as well. But I'll stay with my official appointment as master plan subcommittee.
I'm pretty sure you can be on more than one, but I would love to be on the swim center one, but I'm good with if Susie wants to do it instead too.
Wonderful. Whatever works out, however it works out, whoever wants to be on, we're not going to discriminate. We'll take everybody. I'm just here. I just want to get this spearheaded. Let's get this moving forward. Let's get this. This is a problem in our park system. Let's get it worked out. We need to get this worked out. We worked out the pickleball. Let's work out the swim center. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
We're here. We're trying to find solutions, not problems. So with that,
yeah, we would need a
vote.
motion. And then a second, we would need the motion to actually create the ad hoc as well as the commissioners that would be on it.
I would like to make a motion to create and approve and move forward with the swim center ad hoc.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Finland. Can we get a vote? Roll call vote, please.
Do you want your motion to include what commissioners would be on the ad hoc as well, or do you want me to do 2 votes?
No, let's just do 1 vote. I would like to include the commissioners too.
Okay, so then the roll call vote, Chair Alcorn,
Yes.
Commissioner Crawford, Commissioner Crawford, you are on mute right now. I'm going to circle back to Commissioner Crawford. Commissioner Diaz,
Yes.
Commissioner Finland,
Yes.
Commissioner Meyer,
Yes.
Commissioner Moralia,
Yes.
and let me check Commissioner Crawford. Well, motion still carries with Commissioner Crawford unable to having audio problem.
Good.
So we're good.
So with that motion being approved, I look forward to getting that commission going on, or that ad hoc going on. Sorry, everybody. So with that, we're gonna move this, moving this, Jesus, tongue twisted. Keep getting this meeting moving forward. Wait, let's go to ad hoc. Try saying that 5 times fast. Ad hoc committee update. Let's start with the dog park. I see Miss Moralia has his hand up. Mr. Moralia.
I just wanted to ask a quick question about the swim center. So do we want all 4 of us on this, or should I leave myself off?
You know, just like any other ad hoc, there's no limit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I mean, we'd like to have diversity, you know, and mix. I think if you'd like to be a part of it, please join in. I don't think there's going to be a conflict or scheduling issue. It'll just be more people that are available to speak with the public, help out, and try to move this and get this taken care of.
Cool. Then I'm in.
Awesome. Look forward to working with you two gentlemen.
Absolutely.
So with that being said, I'm going to move on to the commission ad hoc updates. Do we have an update for, let's start with the dog park.
Always an update. So usually what I try to do on the day that we have our commission meeting is I try to go to the dog parks in the morning just to sort of, you know, so I'm really getting like the latest up-to-date info. So this is obviously the Demuth Dog Park that we're seeing pictures of, and then the planned sodding for the City Hall. So the Demuth Dog Park, it really looks good. I know that we have plans to get additional decomposed granite, which I think will also be a plus there, but it is not in the state that some people may have led you to believe. I thought it looked pretty good when I went there today. There were 5 big dogs playing around in it, running around. It seemed good. There's still sort of that weird fencing thing that I mentioned at one point. I don't really know how to fix it because it's like on that weird slope.
Yeah.
It looks like it's sort of held together right now, but it still looks weird. But other than that, I thought the park looked good. The 2 people that were there today seemed to be enjoying themselves with the 5 dogs. So all good. City Hall Dog Park. Also, since we've not had rain, we've not had any of that, it is largely dirt, but that is because, you know, the community and we decided not to do the overseeding. So I know that the plan is to get the sod. Did you tell me April or May, Yvonne? I can't remember.
It'll probably be late spring, early summer.
Okay. So that'll help that part, but the park itself, I thought looked pretty good today, quite honestly. And there were no dog fights going on. There were no anything unusual. The one thing that I found today that I had never seen before was I saw people walking the perimeter of the dog park as if they were exercising while watching their dogs, which is a kind of cool thing. And maybe we should think of adding that perimeter for Demuth Park as well.
That's awesome. So can I make a comment on this? I took my 3 dogs there this past weekend, large dogs to Demuth, and we loved it. Absolutely enjoyed it. Had a great, fantastic time. Little agility course. I don't know if my dogs or my kids had more fun trying to do that, but it was fun. And you know, secondly, the only other comment I have really, if we're going to do sod in April, May, that's not the best time here in the desert to lay sod because it doesn't have enough time to establish roots. All it's going to do is it might lay, but it's gonna burn and shrivel up and die by June, July, August. So that we might want to rethink that, just an FYI for everybody, instead of spending the money to put something down to have it literally just kind of go to heck in a couple days, couple months. I don't know if that would be the smartest use of appropriate funds for us to do. That's all I'm trying to say on that one. So maybe that's something we can look at towards, just something we can look at.
Absolutely.
Other than that, I think the dog parks are coming along great.
Did you want me to talk about the shade structure again? We know it's ordered. We've chosen the colors that are here. It should arrive late June to mid-July, probably July. And that's because of the time basically to build it, ship it, set it up, etc. We were pretty quick on making that decision. So I know that some people are going to complain because it'll be June, it'll be hot, there won't be a shade structure yet. But hopefully we get lucky and it gets here by like the 3rd week of June.
Awesome. Looking forward to that. That's great. So just to show the people, we have coming down the pipeline, park enhancements, dog park enhancements. We are working on it. Your voices are being heard, and we got Mr. Moralia getting it done. This is awesome. Thank you, sir, for everything you're doing for that ad hoc, sir. Seriously. Any questions or comments for Mr. John Moralia? All right. With that, I'm going to move on to the next ad hoc update, which I think will be the pickleball.
Okay. Just to let everyone know with regard to pickleball, our ad hoc met on March 15th. We'll be meeting again this week on March 29th. Our 2023 and 2024 model plans for the 12-court pickleball expansion over at Demuth is moving forward. Issues currently of concern include lighting matters and court barrier concerns, which are all works in progress. With the matter pertaining to lighting, we have a mixture of the old and the new for the lighting system on the courts. And we're just hoping that in moving forward, as we make plans for the court expansion over to Demuth, that we'll have uniformity with the lighting system. So it's conducive for folks who are playing later on a particular day of the week. We're very encouraged by the commencement of the ambassador program, which we really hope to officially get launched. As Yvonne had alluded to earlier in our meeting this afternoon, officially get it launched like the May Parks and Recreation open house process. We're also excited about the advancement of the sport of pickleball in the Palm Springs community. And we're really very enthusiastic in anticipating putting our great city on the map as we move forward, putting it on the map pertaining to pickleball. Our timetable is falling into place for this year as far as step by step getting this put together and laying the groundwork for this project. We're in the process of formulating ideas for the design consultant. We'll also be putting together a list of more major significant amenities and design elements that should be incorporated into the design of the new courts. Again, coming back to lighting and centralized seating, drinking fountains, shaded areas, etc., things of that nature. So the group is actively engaged, very excited about the process. And that's where we stand right now. And if I just can quickly, as a separate aside, separate from pickleball, I had the opportunity to attend the city's Blue Zone event and also a Plaza Theater presentation. And I just want to say, as an aside to those things, they're both excellent and they're well coordinated. But I'm very pleased with the pickleball group, very enthusiastic, very committed. We stay in touch. They keep me advised as far as different issues that may have cropped up in recent times, and we do the best we can to remedy them. And we're just on a steady timetable for meeting and for communicating, and I'm very excited about the sports expansion as we go forward. And that's my presentation tonight.
Awesome, Mr. Finland. Any questions for Mr. Finland?
Not a
Regarding-
question per se, but since I was at the large dog park at Demuth this morning, I thought, let me swing by pickleball. And so I did, and it was about 9 a.m. It was packed. Everybody seemed to be having a great time. And it was what I would call like 3 teams deep waiting for courts. So it was really quite busy, but I didn't see anybody like annoyed that they were waiting or anything like that. People seemed, you know, kind of engaged and expecting it and whatever. And I saw no arguments or anything else. So whatever you're doing with the ambassador program, I'm saying, I guess it's working.
Yeah. It's always a great, busy facility. I'm looking forward to giving all the people 2024, the new facility to really get that going. It's awesome.
All right.
Any other questions, comments for Mr. Finland, pickleball? All right, moving on to the next ad hoc, which would be, I think, let me see here. Okay, our landscape conversion. And the landscape, we have completed the landscape conversion. We are waiting for submittal to city council to get approval, to get it going. And I'm really happy for that because we got some walking paths in all the parks. We did a lot of, going to be a lot of green space removed. So that's coming to fruition. Like I said, we're just waiting to get that in front of city council to get them to approve it. So that's the step that the landscape conversion is at. And also, oh, go ahead.
Here, Alquin, I mentioned during the Blue Zone presentation about how the commission had wanted to incorporate those walking paths for exercise through the drought tolerant landscaping too.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. City's been asking for it. We'll give it to them. So with that, yeah, say that the landscape conversion is going really well. It's just, we're just waiting to get it in front of city council. They've been busy with a lot of other things. So we're hoping to get it there the next month, the next month coming up. Awesome. So
Yeah, that's right.
that's great. So with that being said, let's move on to the next commission, to the next ad hoc, which would be the master plan. Susie, do you have an update?
So we did not meet this month, but I did want to note that in one of the correspondences that came in from a swim center patron, they mentioned that the swim center master plan hadn't been updated since 2014. So I just want to make sure that the public knows that we are currently in the process of revamping the master plan, and we have gone through the steps of locating and identifying similar types of cities with similar types of issues and maybe budget issues, so that we can look to what they've done to sort of mirror or audit what we're doing. But I did want to call that out because I do want the public to know that we are actively working on the new plan. And it is pretty typical of cities of our size to do something once every 10 years, and which is coming up in 2024. So we are on track to meet that goal.
Wonderful. Thank you, Susie. With that being said, let's move on to the park enhancements. Or, you know what, sorry, any questions or comments for Susie? I apologize, I'm not trying to move on and just rush this meeting on. I really do apologize, Susie. You know, the only thing I got to add on to that is saying, as you know, as a Parks and Rec as a whole, our whole, the whole department for about the last 10 years since the last master plan was done, it really hasn't been getting much love until this year recently. We finally got a new director, we've got finances, we're actually upgrading our facilities, we're doing the deferred maintenance, it's been deferred for 10 plus years. So there's a lot on the Parks and Recreation plate, and to be able to grow, get staff, get proper channels, get stuff going. There's a lot like in the works that people don't realize it's been not going on that is finally going on. So just, applaud to everybody. I'm glad we're moving this forward. So let's move it on to the park enhancements.
And we did not schedule any meetings of the park enhancement ad hoc
Okay,
in the past month.
no problem. Thank you, ma'am. We did the pickleball one already. I think that's everything. Wow. So with that being said, I'm going to move it on to the last part of the commission meeting. Do any of my commissioners have any burning desires, any last thing to say, any questions, comments, concerns regarding this commission? To Ms. Wise, to anybody on the city staff that's listening, or citizens, does anybody have anything to address or say anything?
Commissioner Meyer has her hand up.
I do. I just wanted to thank you for the comprehensive information that was presented at this meeting, from the city council to the city manager to the very comprehensive presentation that Yvonne gave, addressing a lot of the issues that have been really riling up the community in the past several months. I think the best thing we can do to move forward is to make sure all the information is out there in a really streamlined fashion, because information is power for our community. And I'm very appreciative that we took that approach in this meeting, to give as much as we could so people can kind of work from the same set of facts to make positive change. So thank you very much for the time that you put into this. And thank you also to the city council and to the city manager for taking the time to come to the meeting, because I think that's the kind of attention to detail that we need to set a foundation to move forward. So thank you.
Well said. Well,
And then
well
I see we have Assistant City Manager Galvan.
Thank you. I also want to thank the group, and thank you, Yvonne, for all of the information today. It's really good updates from the ad hoc, from staff. And I appreciate the fact that people are sharing their input and working really hard on all of the projects that we have in front of us. And I also want to welcome Scott Stiles. I'm sure you all know it. I am also very happy to have him here in the city of Palm Springs. And going back to my role as ACM and no longer wearing multiple hats. And we are all looking forward to working with him and this committee on Swim Center Excellence that he's going to bring together to continue to, make our facilities and our programs and our services the best they can be. That's all of our common goal. So look forward to working with you all on that. I'm very thankful for all that you do for the city of Palm Springs. So thank you all.
Thank you, Ms. Gallivan. Awesome. Love hearing from the staff. Okay, with that being said, I got nothing to say. I'm just looking for a motion to close. Other than everybody's great here. I love everybody. Good job, everybody. Can I get a motion to close?
Motion.
Thank you, Mr. Finland. Can I get a second?
I'll second that as Commissioner Meyer.
Thank you, Ms. Meyer. Our next meeting will be April 24th, 2023 at 5:30. Are we doing this one on Zoom, or are we going to do a live meeting? Going to try to do live.
Well, yeah, if you guys are ready, we will try to go live.
I would love to have an in-person meeting, everybody. Let's do this. I'd like to shake some hands and or is it kiss babies, shake hands, however it goes, or shake babies and kiss hands, however it is. But I'd like to have a meeting in person, everybody. So let's see if we can do this.
Sounds good.
Awesome. With that being said, I'd like to call the Parks and Recreation Commission meeting to a close at 7:16 on this wonderful day. Thank you very much for everybody for hanging in there.
Thanks, everyone.